Here comes the 2010 census. Beginning next month, the United States government will begin distributing those questionnaires to every household in America in order to gather your personal information. Now, while the Constitution mandates a census every 10 years in order to decide how many members of the House of Representatives a state should have, the federal government takes it one step further, using the information that it gathers to dole out over $300 billion on pet projects in certain cities and states, and at the same time to ask you, where do you work, what do you eat, and how many bathrooms do you have in your house? Joining us now is author Gary Barnett, who just penned an extremely informative article, The 2010 Census. Beware the state's assault on privacy. Gary, welcome to Freedom Watch.
Thank you, Judge. It's a real pleasure to be with you.
Thank you. I get this question all the time, and I know you do. The questionnaire shows up at my house. It asks me my race. It asks me my religion. It asks me not only how many people live here, but where they work and how many bathrooms we have. What am I supposed to do with this form? Should I answer it? And if I don't, will I go to jail?
Well, I can't tell you if you're going to go to jail or not. I certainly don't answer them. And coming from a constitutional standpoint, the only thing required is a simple enumeration or a count of heads, nothing
Right.
more. Nothing more is constitutional as far as I'm concerned. So I think if you stay within those confines, you can be okay. I've been threatened several times with fines, and I've had people on my property and run them off, but I've never had a fine that's actually been levied at this point, but I'm certain they can come after you that way. The Department of Commerce does not put up with too much dissent there.
Right. As I understand it, and actually you've informed me of this, as well as a lot of other people, Gary, with your very informative article, that not everybody gets this long form. In fact, it's not even every 10th person that gets the long form. It's fewer folks than that. But the long form is very long. Now, the law is, if you don't answer these questions, you can be fined $500. The government is not going to put people in jail because, quite frankly, they don't have enough jails to hold all the people that will not answer this. The question is, will they actually pursue you for the $500? They can't just add it to your tax bill. They have to actually charge you with a crime, prosecute you, try you, get you convicted, and persuade a judge that you should be fined the $500. I just don't think that that's going to happen. I think most Americans will rightfully say, here's the number of people that live here, now leave me alone.
I've never had a problem with the standard census. And by the way, what they've done with this long form, which is now the American Community Survey, is they send it on a rotating basis every year as opposed to every 10 years sending it to one in every so many households. And as I said in my article, I think they're getting enough dissent that I think they're trying to make the public believe that now it's a nice and easy 10-question census and everyone should participate, when in fact, in my opinion, I think there'll actually be more long forms sent out over a 10-year period than there were before. And I don't know that for sure. As far as the courts are concerned in prosecution, I was sent the 2007 business census to fill out. I tore it up 4 times, and eventually I got a letter from the Roxy Jones, the chief counsel for economic affairs from the Department of Commerce, and they threatened me with a $5,000 fine. I never filled it out. I sent it back with my name, and nothing's happened about that since 2008. But I think you're correct. I think it's it would be just a horribly massive procedure to try to get everyone that didn't want to participate and fine them or get them in the courts or put them in jail. I think it'd be a big project.
One does not ordinarily associate the name of George W. Bush with limited government and respect for individual liberty. But he did say when he was in the White House that one of these forms showed up at his ranch in Texas and he threw it out because even he, who presided over an enormous expansion of government and egregious violations of liberties guaranteed under the Constitution, wasn't about to answer the type of questions that his own Commerce Department was sending out in their own census form. I think people can take a cue from that, don't you?
Well, certainly, but and it's to me. Well, and it could just be this is just my opinion, Judge, but I don't put a lot of different spin on whether it's a short form or long form. As far as I'm concerned, they're both unconstitutional.
Oh, I agree with you. The only questions they can ask are how many people that live there, not how many Americans live there, not where the people were born, but how many human beings regularly reside in this house. That's all the Constitution, in my opinion, allows them to ask.
Well, but what's happened too. This has become a three-tier process, and I don't know if that's just taken place for this census.
Well, what do you mean a three-tier process?
In 2009, I had the first census taker that attempted to come on my property was basically a address finder. They locate the address, they verify, and then they take that information back. And then the next census taker that came brings some pretty sophisticated equipment and GPS, and they're looking they want to locate your house on their GPS system, and that's databased. But they also are looking for new building or construction, or in my case, looking at my horses, my animals, which they went back and reported, and I got a tax bill for that, by the way. And then after the GPS, they do their particular job. Then the census will be mailed out April 1st, and if you don't comply, then they'll send somebody to your house. So it's not just the process of sending it out to you now. This has become much more intrusive.
Well, this is an authoritarian government that has no respect for privacy and no respect for the right of us to be left alone. If they are interested in increasing your taxes because of the number of horses that you have, what the heck does that have to do with the census?
Well, that's a Montana law. That's a story for another day. But yes, I mean it is a three-prong situation now, and that's not just here. That's all over the country that's going on. Right. I get letters constantly from all over the country because I've written several articles about the census.
Let me suggest that you keep up the good work, Gary, because this is the year of the census. This is the most intrusive and sophisticated census, obviously, in American history, and Americans need to know what constitutional rights they can stand on. Gary Barnett, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us on Freedom Watch.
Thank you so much, Judge.